Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of our colleagues and participants who are joining us from all over the world. Thank you for being with us here today. Just going to take a few more seconds and give some time for participants who are joining. But to respect the time of everyone who has joined on time, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Farah Salem. I'm the Water and Climate Officer at IFRC, and I'll be your moderator for the session today. We're joined today by very distinguished, very amazing colleagues who will be speaking and sharing their stories, basically. We'll hear from national leaders, technical experts about first results from Water at the Heart of Climate Action project in these 5 countries. As I'm going to be speaking, I'm going to be sharing 3 cartoons who were designed by some artists who are working with. And they are basically just highlighting some aspects of the project that hopefully you'll have the time to reflect on during the session. And please feel free to pop in your reflections, comments in the chat, and we can get to them during the Q&A, or you can just open your mics and speak with us in the last 20 minutes of the session. These are as they're showing. So it will not be a traditional session. Not just a traditional panel. We will have distinguished speakers, national, local actors of the project who will be telling us stories basically about what it's been like working over the last 2 years as part of the 5-year project with Water at the Heart, and we'll be listening to their stories and engaging with them at the end. To open our session, I'm very pleased to welcome Ms. Joelle van Rijn, the Senior Advisor on Climate Change Adaptation at the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our donor and main partner of the project. Joelle, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Farah, and it's a great pleasure and an honor for me to open this session. I think it's an excellent opportunity to hear from the countries, to meet local experts, and to present the first results of Water at the Heart of Climate Action to a larger public. Farah, you asked me to say a few words about the significance of this activity for our ministry, for the Dutch Development Corporation. For me, to start with, after returning to the ministry after 4 years working on Cuba, this program was a big surprise, a positive surprise that is. Because in Cuba I had seen firsthand how important early warning systems are to save lives and maintain livelihoods, but also how much local knowledge and expertise has now been built up in regions and communities that are at the forefront of climate change adaptation. I believe that it's very important that our international and multilateral efforts to adapt to climate change tap from that knowledge, and that we build on that local knowledge and that we make it available to others. Water at the Heart of Climate Action works on this by connecting unusual suspects, by linking local action directly to a consortium of multilateral agencies and the World Meteorological Organization. This is a very strong asset for our ministry, and I would call it an innovation. But this is not the only innovation of Water at the Heart of Climate Action. The second is the fact that the program brings together 3 development areas: water management, climate change adaptation, and human security, 3 areas that had been siloed before. And this program is the first program that integrates the 3 areas and is also combining funding lines for the 3 areas, which is an important innovation for our ministry. Since the impact of climate change on our lives, on every social activity, every economic activity is increasing steadily, integration of climate change adaptation in every aid sector is needed. Only to ensure the effectiveness and efficiency of aid, we can no longer afford isolation. I think that later today, Mr. Tunwe Base, Mr. Okwang, Mr. Ayesiga, Dr. Abdallah, Mr. Ali and Mr. Bidal and Temeskan, they will all confirm how important the relation, the connection to the multilateral level is for their work and how it supports their the quality of what they are doing on a daily basis. But the same message comes from the consortium members, because they're also learning a lot from this direct contact with the local level, and they are improving their work because of this. So this consortium already decided that they would like to maintain this consortium and open up to other donors who are interested in this high impact climate solution, and who are interested to work in different regions or in different countries. So I am looking very much forward to exchange also with other interested donors and share my experiences. Well, Farah, thank you once more for the opportunity. I'm very eager to hear from the country presentations, and maybe later in the discussion we can get back to the policy innovations I just mentioned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ella, for your input, for highlighting and setting the stage, and highlighting the importance of this initiative. You mentioned the breaking down the silos, working together across this consortium. I think we'll hear a lot about this today from our speakers. So thank you so much. We'll now turn to the first thematic field of our session with Mr. Fred Tumwebaze and Jimmy, who has not yet joined, so I'll give some more time to Fred, who basically shared their stories on working with risk knowledge and governance in the respective countries. Fred, you have the stage. Please, would you like to share your experience about working in the ministry in charge of emergencies in Rwanda?
Thank you. Thank you. I hope you can all hear me. Great. Yeah. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this important dialogue. In Rwanda is implementer of water hut like many other countries. In Rwanda, water-related disasters, particularly floods, storms, and landslide, and droughts are no longer seasonal conveniences. They're intensifying threats to livelihoods, and infrastructure. These risks compounded by climate variabilities, rapid urbanization, and fragile ecosystems. The floods and landslide of May 2023, was a painful event and a reminder of the reality where 135 lives were lost, 8,000 households displaced, and entire communities left devastated. It was one of the deadliest climate-related disasters in our recent history, but it almost marked a turning point, a moment of recognition, a national commitment to strengthening early warning systems and build resilience from the ground up. So I'll be sharing how risk knowledge shapes the preparedness of Rwanda, because this is the biggest mandate of the ministry. In Rwanda, our approach to preparedness begins with undertaking risk at the local level. We've invested in mapping hazard zones, identifying hotspots for floods, landslide, strong winds, and droughts, analyzing historical hydrological trends. Currently, we've recorded 522 disaster risk hotspots across the country, and also identified all the risk all the elements at risk. This data is not just stored; it is used. It informs contingency planning, resource allocation, anticipated actions, and community awareness campaigns, which are conducted regionally in collaboration with local authorities. When I talk of local authorities, it's according to the administration structures of the country, where there's a central and then goes down to the district level. Importantly, it allows us to tailor early warning messages to the reality of each district and communities, ensuring that alerts are not just only timely, but also relevant and trusted. Saying this, I'm not saying that we've already mastered it and are doing it the best, but we're trying, and we're still, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of hazards in our country. So having early warning that responds to each one of it, it's not easy. So we are trying. We already have the one for floods and landslide, but we're still training the models because we're trying the digital platforms different that has been designed. So talking about the water at heart, under the water at heart, the climate action, Rwanda is advancing several key efforts to strengthen its knowledge and governance. One is development of multi-hazard early warning strategy. This strategy is being finalized through inclusive consultation and will serve as a national blueprint for coordinated risk communication and response, where different partners and government institutions are coming together to work on their responsibilities, and then also commit on something they'll be achieving in the coming years. So it's a 5-year strategy that will guide us that will guide the work towards the development of development of early warning system. Another thing that we are doing is a review and update the National Risk Atlas. The current National Risk Atlas was developed in 2015 and covers 5 major hazards, including drought, floods, landslide, earthquake, and windstorm. However, the frequent intensity and geographic spread of disaster have evolved significantly since then. Rwanda is now undertaking a comprehensive revision of the Atlas. This update will integrate new data, spatial analysis, and community-level insights to improve accuracy, usability, and relevance. Another, I would say, dream or something we're looking into. We were looking into how can we digitalize this risk atlas, not only having it on paper, but also digitalizing it and make sure that it's dynamic and able to be changed and reviewed instead of waiting for over 10 years to be able to revise it. Another thing we are looking at it too, we are like trying to strengthen coordination mechanisms. Under Water at Heart, Rwanda is reinforcing coordination between national institutions at the local level, which I meant as a district level, to ensure that hydro-meteorological and geological data like floods and landslide, mostly triggered by rain, are not only collected but translated into timely, localized decision-making. This improves flow of information, and it is very critical for personalizing early warning systems that are responsive to community realities. In partnership with implementing consortium, one of the examples I believe Shilak will talk about, we are looking into how EVCA will be supporting us. It's a participatory assessment empowering communities to identify their own risk, prioritize vulnerabilities, and develop context-specific preparedness and response plans. By embedding local knowledge into national system, EVCA strengthened the relevancy and effectiveness of early warning messages and foster ownership of the grassroots level. This is a bottom-up approach, complements national efforts and ensures that early warning is not just a technical function, but a shared responsibility across all levels of the governments. We're also looking at the exchange learning from different countries, of which one of the recent exchange learning we conducted, it was a 2-way exchange learning where we went to Malaysia and then they came here to present what they do. And we're fostering that exchange towards learning from each other. And also we are opening doors to countries who want to come to learn from what we've done, or to countries that we see that we can duplicate their products to our country. Government is very committed to this. The government of Rwanda has demonstrated unwavering commitment advancing early warning systems, where this has been put in the National Strategic for Transformation, which stated develop a multi-hazard early warning system and strengthening meteorological services to improve disaster preparedness. I'm talking risk knowledge and governance not ends in itself. They are enablers of action. They are the difference between wanting to save lives and wanting to and lives that are lives too late. By replacing water at the heart of climate resilience and by amplifying local voices, Water at Heart is helping countries like Rwanda turn data into decision and decision into protection. We look forward to continued collaboration, share learning, and collective action to share our future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fred. You touched on so many important points that you just mentioned, not just the point of risk management and governance, but also how it's all interconnected. You mentioned the EVCA, which Sirak will talk about near the end of the session, and how this risk needs to be communicated from the scientific data collection points from the ministries all the way down to the affected communities. So more on that actually during the session. If I might actually invite Godwin now to please take his session and just inform us a little bit about risk communication and observations and forecasting and how this kind of fits in all together with the project. Please, Godwin, the floor is yours. Godwin, you hear us? Are you unmuted?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Farah. Apologies, colleagues. I'm unable to turn on my video. I think I've just been challenged by technicalities. Apologies for that. But to take it on from there, my name is Godwin Ayesiga, and I'm a principal meteorologist in the Department of Meteorological Services in the Ministry of Water and Environment in Uganda. So I wanted to share with you a bit of a story on the importance of observations, monitoring, analysis, and forecasting weather-related hazards as a major component to effective early warning systems. Colleagues, you all know that accurate and reliable weather and climate forecasts of weather-related hazards is actually a major component of an effective early warning system. But of course, we know that the major ingredient for an effective early warning system is an accurate weather forecast. It could be, well, of a different timescale. But obviously, for us to get those accurate and reliable weather forecasts, we need both meteorological and hydrological observations, and of course, human resources. And obviously, for us in Uganda, we go for that continuous improvement in terms of the quality and the quantity of observations, because we know this is a major ingredient to an accurate and reliable weather forecast. But this tends to be this tends to require a huge amount of resources, and so we rely on projects such as Water at the Heart, and that means that Uganda is obviously one of the consortium partners implementing Water at the Heart of Climate Action Project. And at Water at the Heart, we anticipate to improve the observation network, particularly the hydrological monitoring stations. But obviously for us in Uganda, we are looking at how these projects complement one another. And while we are looking at, the hydrological stations being, upgraded and Water at the Heart, we have SOFF, which is the Systematic Observations Financing Facility that's actually investing in the improvement of weather observation network, both ground-based stations and upper air. And as SOFF is taking on this, giving us this support, we are actually getting support from the Netherlands Meteorological Institute, KNMI, as our peer advisor. And so as we go into, improving these observation networks, we are also focusing on improving the quality of our weather observations. And we do this with a view of the early warning for all initiative. And so under Water at the Heart, we will we will build the capacity of our weather forecasters. As I mentioned earlier, we view this as an important component to an effective early warning system. And so the improvement of the quality and the quantity of weather observations is, of course, an important undertaking in terms of, generating, these early warning information, particularly flooding. A couple of days ago, we had a flood in one of parts of Uganda, and obviously that claimed one life. And obviously we know that loss of one life is a big blow to the whole country. And so these are the things we are looking at. And so we are already generating nowcasts, which is one of the things we are doing under Water the Heart. Thanks, of course, to the newly installed satellite receiver. The satellite receiver that we installed 2 weeks ago was supported by the KILIMSA project. And now we are using that, the satellite data generated to generate nowcasts for the pilot districts where Water at the Heart is being implemented. And obviously you see now these we are taking advantage of the different interventions, to produce information that's aligned to early warning. Now, under Water the Heart, we are also looking at the integration of indigenous knowledge and scientific knowledge to generate hybrid forecasts. And this activity aims at, bringing in local engagement. We will be collecting indicators from the communities and then integrating those indicators with scientific knowledge, and we generate a hybrid forecast. And by doing this, we are looking at the communities participating in the generation of early warning information. And we're complementing that with, doing public education and outreach programs with a focus on women, the youth, and the people with disabilities, so that we generate, targeted or tailored information, weather and climate information for these vulnerable groups. And finally, I also wanted to talk about what we've been doing. We've been working on reviewing our gender strategy and developing our gender action plan. And this is one of the things we're looking at as we implement Water at the Heart of climate action. But also we received support from the Netherlands Meteorological Institute to actually develop this gender strategy and gender action plan. And we want to incorporate these aspects as we implement both SOFF and Water at the Heart of climate action. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Godwin. May I please ask Dr. Muhammad Abdullah from the Sudan Meteorological Agency to continue in this the same theme. Please, the floor is yours, Dr. Muhammad.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Farah. Thank you, Dr. Godwin. I think he mentioned a lot of things actually about the observation and satellite, because you know that observation is divided into two parts: one ground-based observation and also the satellite observation, with the main for the covering more spatial coverage for the area. I think he covered a lot of things, so we can I start directly to what the contribution of water at the heart of climate action to hydro-meteorological observation in the regional stage in Sudan directly. No need to mention more about the observation we already discussed. And actually in Sudan, because regional stage is a more vulnerable area that targeted by this project, and it's mainly water-related hazard, either drought or flood or flash flood. So you are affected more by these hazards. So more the effort that have been done is based on this hazard. Starting with the expansion for hydrometeorological observation networks, also Water at the Heart of Climate Action project supported upgrading rainfall and river discharge and soil moisture observation monitoring system across Sudan and especially in the area. And these upgrades enable to real-time data acquisition, which is critical for flood and drought forecasting. Also, in terms of observation, we deployed automatic weather station that support the manual system that already installed in Sudan. So we have around 3 stations already installed in the targeted area. They have both automated weather station, and also they have the manual system, and they are working together very well. Of course, the forecast operation need also more observation for more accurate forecast. Yes, we have another session around the state, and we get information from it. But if we establish more observation session inside the state, it will be more painful, maybe in the future. And also, we get the benefits from this project through the integration with the Nile Basin drought forecast early warning system. For River Nile and the Nile State benefit from this in terms of monitoring meteorological and hydrological and agricultural drought in the area, because they have a monthly bulletin that they have a special coverage, even the targeted area that we have it in the River Nile State. Also, we have cross-border data sharing. Water Authority of Climate Action has facilitate Sudan Meteorological Authority participating in a regional platform hosted by ICPAC, IGAD Climate Prediction and Application Center, and Nile Basin Initiative, NBI, allowing River Nile State to access and share climate hazard and data of forecast for this area, and that is more important. Also, with the other efforts that have been done, as you know, during this conflict ongoing in Sudan, we worked remotely from other infrastructure. For example, we have 3 teams, one in Port Sudan and one in Nairobi, Kenya, hosted by ICPAC, and the other team in Cairo, hosted by the Egyptian Meteorological Authority, and we are thankful for them for hosting us. And during our teams, they are working on digital dissemination tool. For example, we use the CAP Composer, Common Alert Protocol, to disseminate our early warning messages that can reach all the website, even the WMO website. And also we have MOU signed with the social media and telecommunication companies. For example, they can now, our messages for everyone that can reach even offline for the people inside the conflict region, yes. Even they are offline, so they can reach easy to reach the early warning information. And also, we have a plan to through this project to make more regional integrations with a regional platform. For example, like in IGAD, they are working on development like a regional visualization platform that can join all the Nile Basin area, and that can deploy all the warning and all the flood or hazard related to water, and in one platform that help each of them. Also, the impact-based forecast, because you know that pure forecast, I think the WMO, secretary, she said that meant the quote in her quote, we are not just in the meaning that we are not just a forecaster, we are more than that. So we have to integrate our service with the community and reach to the community. And the third part that we will be done for the capacity building for our staff and also for the community. Important also for the community to how to handle with this forecast, and how also to assess how they use the forecast and how the folks to get the benefit from this forecast and how they handle. Also, during this project, we did a lot of workshops. I participated in many workshops. Maybe Muhammad Ali in WMO, they know more about it because he's the coordinator for this. For example, hydro-SOFF, I think now he's there and he can handle it from here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad Abdullah. Please, Muhammad Ali, the floor is yours. If you'd like to take over from that point.
Thank you, everyone, and also colleagues for these great speeches.
It's a real honor to be here with you on behalf of WMO, the World Meteorological Organization. I would like to take a few minutes to speak about something very close to our work, which is the importance of regional coordination in water and climate services across the Nile Basin, specifically for these countries that are within the project. We all know also from the pictures you showed that water does not stop at borders. Perhaps a flood in one country can become a disaster downstream in another country within few hours. A drought in upstream country of the basin can affect food security and even energy production in another. So this is the reality of the Nile Basin, that we are deeply connected. And because of this, none of us can really manage these challenges alone or in isolation. So through Water at the Heart of Climate Action project, we're already seeing how collaboration and cooperation makes a difference. Countries like Ethiopia, Rwanda, South Sudan, Sudan, and Uganda are already sharing data, strengthening their early warning systems and learning from each other. But if we really want true resilience for the whole basin, we need to move beyond national efforts and work together as one region. And here where comes new tools like the interoperable visualization platform that's currently being developed under the project. So this platform, it allows countries to put their data on one platform. As a matter of fact, data, products, platforms on different scales, from regional to global to national scale, all to be put in the same platform, literally. So decision makers across the basin can now see the same information at the same time. So this builds trust among the countries. It also avoids duplication. And most importantly, it ensures that warnings reach the people who really need them faster and more accurately. On another hand, we have also another powerful tool, which is the hydro-SOS, which is the hydrological status and outlook system. So this system does not just tell us what's happening with water on the current state, but it rather gives us an outlook or a glimpse into the weeks and months ahead. As a matter of fact, last week we concluded a workshop or a training workshop where we had all the 5 countries upload their data into the platform. And for the first time, you can see these white dots in the region in Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Uganda, and we have more than 20 stations that are currently in the Outlook system. So this kind of foresight is invaluable, for example, for farmers who deciding when to plant, for hydropower operators managing electricity supply, and even for communities trying to prepare before a flood strikes. So my message as a consortium partner and as a WMO representative is regional coordination turns science into resilience. We already have the pathways through Water at the Heart, the means through the visualization platform, and the foresight through the hydro-SOS. So if we continue to bring these pieces together, we can transform the way we manage water in the Nile Basin, from reacting to disasters to anticipating them, and from working in isolation to working as one. So I would like to take the opportunity again to thank all the consortium partners and a sincere applause to the great efforts that the national partners are conducting within these 5 countries. Thank you, Farah.
Thank you so much, Muhammad. Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad Abdullah, Muhammad Ali, and Godwin, for your input here about forecasting, about the importance of the observation and forecasting, and how it plays a role in this whole session, in this whole project as a whole. So it's not just important to know what's happening, but then how do you visualize it? How do you show it to the people? How do you communicate this risk? And like you were saying, Muhammad, this hydro-SOS, this is such an important tool, and the interoperable platform is such an important tool, and shows basically how consortium members are all working together, not in silos, not this observation office is doing one thing and then the Red Cross is doing something else, but really how everyone is contributing data, science, communication messages, early warning messages, all into one platform to really break down these silos and achieve the common goal, which is community resilience. So thank you for your input, all three of you. I now invite David Bidal, our Water at the Heart of Climate Action Project Coordinator in South Sudan, to tell us a little bit about their work on the ground and how they translate these messages, how they communicate and disseminate these messages to communities. David, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Flo, for this very important opportunity to be able to share some of the experiences and lessons learned so far in addressing issues of climate changes in relations to sharing of, the early warning messages through Water at Heart of Climate Action in South Sudan. I'll be briefly speaking on the importance of water-specific early warnings messages in effective early warning systems. Again, of course, water is life, but in South Sudan, it can also be a source of danger when communities are not adequately informed or prepared. As part of our Water at Heart of Climate Action initiative, we have learned that early warning systems must go beyond, the technical alerts. They must really speak the languages of the people, literally and cultural. So doing that, we are able to learn that tailoring, communication strategies to ensure warnings are understood and acted upon at the community level. And of course, there are key areas that we were able to, take note of as we work together with these communities. And one of these is, of course, the localization of the messages. When translating these alerts into local languages and using cultural relevant analogies, for example, when we talk of when we say like flood risk, we might say the river will walk into your home, using local ways of communicating to the communities, sending these messages so that they can better understand. We might have the standard messages or the messages that we could use, but again, understanding this from community perspectives is really very, very important. Then another thing is also needing to understand the trusted messengers that are there within the community. So we have to work with the community leaders, like the religious figures and the youth volunteers who are, respected and listened to in the community. That once this messages comes, they can be able to, take the messages and translate to the community, or maybe disseminate to the community. Then the other thing that is also very, very important is, of course, the multi-channel disseminations, like using different channels to communicate to the community while understanding the available local means that are already existing within the community. For example, use of the radio broadcast, maybe, of course, using mobile SMS alerts and, through the events, like public spaces to spreading these messages is one thing that is very, very important. Then, of course, lastly, the other thing is also the interactive sessions. Before the rainy season, we were able to hold, community dialogues and simulation exercises so people know what to do, when these warnings are issued. So these are really very, very important areas that as we work on having these messages, shared and communicate to the communities, these are the angles that we really need to so much focus in. And these are things that we are able to learn, during all this period of time. And again, maybe I could just bring in a short story of how timely dissemination of water-related warnings can lead to effective community response. I could take one of the examples in one of the project locations, water project locations, that is in Bor. Here in 2025, during the start of the period of heavy rainfall in June, around June 2025 here, our team in Bor County were able to disseminate, the water-related early warning messages about potential contamination of water sources through, the hygiene promotion awareness conducted in the predicted flood-prone areas. That was, of course, generated by IPAC and downscaled to South Sudan context by South Sudan Meteorological Services in collaboration with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management on these areas that is so much affected by flood for this year. So with this, of course, the volunteers together with some key community leaders engaged so much in this awareness and of course, communication on the flood that is happening and how dangerous it is to the communities. So the communities were really able to switch to safe water sources through the urban water supply that was constructed by UNICEF through funding from the Royal Kingdom of Netherlands. That was done in 2024. But again, of course, understanding the danger of, drinking and safe water, and of course the issue, the impact of the flood that is happening, understanding that makes them to be able to, stay within the safe areas and be able to have access to safe water, then improve the access and quality of course, using safe, clean drinking water within the communities. So with this, this year there has been a number of outbreaks of cholera within particular areas, especially in Bor. But again, with the effort that was put by the volunteers and the communities in disseminating, these messages and of course, messages related to waterborne diseases, they were able to report. There was reports of, some areas being a little bit safe from these pandemics, and that has happened in this particular area. So this has really given us, the highlights and the lesson that, of course, engaging closely with the communities, sharing with them these messages on timely basis is really very key. And we are able to, have some key takeaways. And of course, with this, I want to leave this in this forum that from this experience and these lessons that we have learned, I have 3 key takeaways that we can be able to so much focus on. One is that early warning must be local, trusted, and actionable. And then 2, the water-specific alert, really protects health. It's very important that it comes timely, that communities can be able to act upon so that they can be able to save life. And then community engagement is the foundation of resilience, which is very, very important. If we devolve messages at that level without involving communities from the onset, without getting close to community, understanding the local ways of doing it, then it becomes very, very difficult when we are disseminating these messages. Otherwise, that is it from my end. Thank you so much.
Amazing. David, actually, you did my job for me. Thank you for highlighting these 3 very important key messages. And essentially, this here shows the importance of having local actors involved, local volunteers who speak the language, they know the culture, they know the problems and issues of the communities, the challenges, but they also know the capacities. They know how to speak with community members. They know what the troubles are because they themselves come from these communities. And here we see the importance of having these local actors, this local Red Cross, Red Crescent, national societies on the ground, disseminating these messages in ways that communities can trust and they can understand and they can act on. So fantastic intervention. Thank you so much, David. And our last, but definitely not least speaker, I'd like to invite Mr. Sirak Temizgen, who's the Regional Resilience Advisor for the Netherlands Red Cross based in Ethiopia, to kind of round everything off and basically share your story. Please, Sirak, the floor is yours. Can you I can't hear you. There might be a slight problem. Can you try again? Or raise the mic up to your...
Can you hear me?
Excellent. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Farah. As the data shows in the region, in the Nile Basin region, 75% of the crises we are facing in the region are water-related crises. Under the Water Alert program, Red Cross is leading the technical focus area 4, which is focusing on anticipatory action, preparedness, and locally led adaptation action. In order for the Red Cross to support these activities at the community level, it requires to know 2 critical information. One, who is being affected, who and what. That information needs to be obtained from the disaster management agency, from the risk data, which is being supported also under this program under UNDRR. And the second one is when they are going to be affected by this water-related crisis. That is the forecast information now. National societies, Red Cross, Red Crescent national societies need to receive from the Met agencies the forecast information, which is linked with the traditional forecast system as well. In Ethiopia, 2 districts in Somali region of Ethiopia were selected as a target country for the community level actions in the Somali region. In the Somali region of Ethiopia, water really means a difference between crisis and resilience. In Harshen, communities live with traditional cisterns called birkas. These are the lifeline for the community where the rainwater stored for the long dry months. However, when the rains fell, as increasingly do, people remain with empty birkas, and they just rely on 2 boreholes, which runs with unreliable generator and not adequate for the entire population. When there is a severe shortage of water, the quality also deteriorates fast, and there is a disease outbreak. In Harshin, most of the communities, close to 80%, they don't have toilet, and this leads to the outbreak of cholera in the very moment when the families are the weakest. This is the context. So under the Water Water program, I would like to highlight 3 areas. One is where the Red Cross National Societies, Red Cross International Society supported, facilitated a community-driven and a community-owned risk assessment and planning process. We call it Enhanced Vulnerability and Capacity Assessment, EVCA in short, whereby in this process, communities from different social and economic groups brought together, and they made to validate the risk information from the Disaster Risk Management Agency. And they were also challenged to answer what is most affecting them, why it is affecting them, and what they should do to reduce the risk to water-related crisis. And the community came up with a risk reduction plan. So the priority risks they have identified is drought in Harshin, and they came up with various activities, but most importantly, 3 water-related activities. One is standardizing the birkas so that they will not crack or collapse due to poor quality construction and also poor management. They also plan to solarize the boreholes so that fuel shortage will not really limit the pumping operation. And also they have identified distributing water treatment kits to the household, to the target household, so that children will not really drink untreated, contaminated water during a drought time. And most importantly, they also highlighted the importance of receiving tailored early warning information from the Met agencies, aligned to the traditional forecasting system of the community, so that this information will be passed through a trusted channel, as David earlier mentioned, so that the communities, when they know drought is coming, they take early action so that people act timely. Some of the early action they have identified is rationing water, treating contaminated water, and protect their water sources. Now let me take you quickly to Kalafo, along the Shabelle River Basin in Somali region of Ethiopia. The problem here is opposite: too much water all at once. Every flood season, families watch the river rise and spill over, swallowing farm fields, pastoral lands, and the very water point they depend on. The hand pump can go from being a lifeline to being submerged and contaminated in a few hours. This is the context in Kalaf. And the community highlighted through the EVCA process 3 priority areas. One is to map their existing water points and identify which ones are the most at-risk water points and make them climate-proof by elevating the platforms, diverting flood water, using sandbags, etc., and also relocating critical livelihood assets and facilities to higher ground. There is also a plan to train local technicians and also open a spare part shop so that maintenance can be done in days, not in months. They also highlighted the importance of adapted and tailored early warning system. So when the river threatens to flood, this information will be passed through Red Cross volunteers, mosques and the schools, women groups, etc., so that families protect their water sources, livelihood assets, and moves if needed before the river does. So in Harshin, resilience means better storage of water and access to those water, and during dry season. In Kalaf, it means better protection against flooding. This approach is not one of one of project approach. It is a scalable model from one district to another. It shows how water is not just a sector, but the lever that unlocks resilience against the climate extremes. And that is the message we bring here to you all. If you want climate finance to reach the front line or the last mile, we must put water at the center, because when the water system is resilient, the communities are resilient too. Thank you, Farah. Back to you.
Beautifully put, Sirak. Thank you so much for highlighting the importance of the work that's being done on the ground with the communities by reaching the last mile, as you mentioned. This is the work of the Red Cross and the Red Crescent. So really, thank you for sharing these lovely stories from Kalevo and from the Somali region in general. This about rounds up our speaker section of the session. So thank you to all our distinguished speakers. And as you may have mentioned, may have noticed, we have speakers today who are joining us from all the different levels of the Water at the Heart of Climate Action project, from honorable ministers and government officials to technical experts in meteorological offices to people who work on the ground, our Red Cross and Red Crescent national societies who are doing the work with the communities. So this really rounds up all of the work that's being done under Water at the Heart. So thank you to all of you who were able to speak with us today. I'd like to open the floor now for a Q&A, a question and answers session from any participants who may have had some time to reflect throughout the entire session. Any questions that may have come up to your mind? I noticed the chat has not been populated yet, or correct me if I'm wrong, Bettina. But participants, if there's any questions you'd like to ask our speakers, myself, anyone involved in the project, please, the floor is yours. Please feel free to, you can unmute yourself, you can turn on your camera so we can see you, or just write your comments or questions in the chat. It doesn't have to be a question, it could just be a comment, it could just be, anything you'd like to say, think about, reflect on. Yeah, I see we have a question from Salam Mukami Apollo. So they're asking this. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your thank you. They'd like to please enlighten more about water at the heart, at the center of climate action. Well, yes, sure. Is there anything specific you'd like to know, or would you like to know some project documents or everything about the project? One of our colleagues could brief you, or we can also share these slides and also share all of the project documents so that you can have them and read them and learn a lot more about the project. Just a brief understanding, of course. Maybe I can take that. So this is the project, Water at the Heart of Climate Action, as mentioned by our speakers, running in the Nile River Basin in East Africa. 5 countries along the Nile: Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Uganda, all of which are represented today. And it is a multi-stakeholder, multi-level project funded by the Netherlands government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's a 5-year project running from 2023 to 2025. So we're now sharing year 2 results, basically. And it's a project that really puts the tagline is basically satellites to sandbags. So it's kind of really showing how the satellite images, forecasting, observation of climate-related risks and disasters and hazards can be translated to the ground, to actionable interventions through water and through early warning systems. It's part of the UN's Early Warning for All global initiative, and we'd love to share some more information. I see some coming up in the chat. Thank you, Ramesh and Celine, for sharing the project information. And if you leave us your email, we can definitely reach out to you for more information. So thank you. Asla Mahmoud has a question. I want to ask if reducing the consumption of water in homes is really valuable or not to save the amount of Nile water. So would one of our colleagues like to take that question? How is the reduction, or is the reduction of water there is consumption at household level and effective methods.
Can I take that one?
Yes, please do, Mohammed. Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you for your question, Asala Mahmoud. When you look at the consumption of the Nile water, like into categories, some is for agriculture, some is for power generation, some is for industries. The one that goes to water supply is among the least in that list. So reducing the consumption of water in houses does not affect that much the amount of water in the Nile, but anything else in the Nile River, for example, the water levels or the power generation or agriculture, an effect on that definitely will affect the water supply in the homes. So it's the other way around. But definitely it's a good habit not to lose water or to waste water or use it just generously, as that also leads to losing a lot of power and so on for supplying the water to homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. And I think actually one of the points that was raised here is it could be an adaptation measure, not necessarily long-term, but in the event of droughts or in the event of long-term prolonged failed rain seasons or drought that we know that might hit the area, then some messages that we might want to share with the communities is maybe reduce the amount that you're consuming at the household for now, so that we are able to conserve the amount of water that we have available to the community. So yes, thank you for your input. We have a question as well from Eunice. How will the outputs and outcomes of the project be sustained when external financing of the project ends? Has there been buy-in from national level or local level? In terms of allocation of resources.
May I come in? Let me try.
You definitely may. Please go ahead, Sirak.
Good. I think one of the beauty of this project is like the proposal, even though the global framework of the project was designed earlier, but the concrete activities and the content of the project, the activities, etc., were designed together with government stakeholders, local actors, and even community members. So the buy-in from the government is already there. The MET agents are on board. The disaster management agents are on board. The National Red Cross is on board. And not only that, the communities, because they are the first partners to be affected by the water-related climate crisis, and they are the first responder as well. So we need to make sure that all these stakeholders are on board from the very beginning, which we did. And we are also under the governance side, which the first speakers spoke about, influencing the policy. Fred mentioned it, the policy, influencing the relevant policy at the national level. Policy dictates resource allocation as well. So we have been really working across different levels, influencing policies which has implication on resource allocation at various levels. So they are on board, and there is a buy-in from different stakeholders, including communities. Thank you.
For your input, Sirak, definitely. And then I might also add as well, since we don't have a lot more time, but just to round this off is, based on everything that we have already established and already done by all of the different relevant project coordinators and involvement, is that now we have a kind of success story or a basis. So now we can use this to build on further. And the idea is not to solely rely all the time, as you mentioned, on external financing or this for countries to be self-sustaining and to have this into their own matters. This is why Sirak was mentioning at policy level how important it is for the governments to act, have this integrated, and then to also see what are the ways that we can start to encourage internal financing. What are the ways that we can start to encourage this sort of work at this level? So yeah, thank you for that input. I've been informed that we only have about 2 more minutes left. So what we can do is basically just have some last minute reflections if anyone has anything they'd like to say or mention. But basically, I just wanted to thank everyone for their involvement, for their time. Thank you for attending, for your active listening and participation in this session. Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to Ms. Yoella for opening our session and being so involved and an active partner in this project. Thank you to all the consortium partners who have been working so well together to make this really a reality. And maybe some key messages to leave everyone with is basically governance and risk knowledge. They are the backbones of effective early warning systems, and this is what we've been seeing. Data and forecasting that we've been talking about, they must be combined with local insight, and this is the only way that they can be impactful. When we talk about communications and anticipatory action, they ensure that early warnings save lives because they become actionable points and they are trusted sources of information. Locally led solutions backed by sustainable finance that we just mentioned, they are essential to scaling resilience. And if we ensure that we have all of these things all put together, we can ensure that we have resilient communities that can withstand the changing climate, can adapt to the changing climate in this short period that we're starting to notice all of it. This consortium of all these wonderful organizations, we've been working so well together over the last 2 years, and we continue to work together for the remaining of the project and hopefully onwards, and see if we can scale similar projects with similar involvement of consortium level partnerships or all the stakeholders involved. So I thank you all one last time. Thank you to everyone who was involved in this session and the support from the team. If there's nothing else, I'd like to close the session. Please make sure to put your questions, comments in the chat, your emails if you'd like to reach out. And if you are available in Stockholm, we all have a booth together that you can join us at booth 405 on the 4th floor. We'd love to have you. You can learn more about the project in depth. And if you are not here in Stockholm, please scan the QR code on the screen so you can visit our digital booth and get access to all the project documents and all the content that we've shared today. So without further ado, I'd like to thank you all one last time. Please have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. My pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.